wondering if maybe Streamlabs was not having issues the other day, and that it's something that's up between Discord and Streamlabs, because as soon as I hit launch on Discord, Streamlabs failed. So I'm sorry to drop out on you like that. Nick, can you please drop a link in the chat? I'm not going to fire up Discord right now. Apparently, there's something going on there. Although I don't think I was running Discord the other day. Streamlabs quit out on us. But maybe I was. Maybe I was. It's entirely possible. Yeah, sucks dropping off like that. All right, well, it looks like most of you are still here. So, Nick, if you can drop a link in the chat here, I'd appreciate it. I'm happy to do the feedback for you. Paul, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Always good having you here, sir. If you're currently a sub, you can run over to the Discord and download the atmospheres that we made last week. I'm gonna re-upload that after this stream and toss those massive patches in there. I didn't put those massive patches in there. Hey, Saffron, throw a link in the chat. I tried going over to the Discord and it crashed our stream, so I'm not going to do that right now. There's something up with that. Yeah, right. You use Studio One. You haven't found an efficient way to export treated samples yet. I believe there is a batch export option. I'm just trying to remember what it actually is. It's by the region, I believe, similar to how Logic does it. Because on the surface, it doesn't look like Logic will do all those things very easily for you, but it does. Just got to click around in a couple places. I can't remember. Is Ced here today? Cedric, are you here in the room? No, I don't see him. Maybe if we put the vibes out there in the universe, soul of Ced One, come to us. He'll come join the fun. He rocks Studio One, and he would be able to answer that probably in half a second. All right, Nick. Well, whenever you get the link in the chat, I'm going to click on it, and we'll give you some feedback. In the meantime, I'm going to bounce out the rest of these. Left off at 151. Yeah, subvids. Reaper is fantastic with it. It's a bit of a manual setup with Reaper in general, but once you have the stuff set up, once you build your scripts and stuff, from what I understand, it's incredibly flexible on that front. I've known some people that entered the rabbit hole and never ever came back out with Reaper. Oh, good. No, I know that you're here. Can you share a link in the chat, Saffron? In the chat here, not in the Discord. I launched Discord and our stream ended, so there's some kind of compatibility issue between Streamlabs and Discord right now. If the speed bumps continue with Discord, I'm going to ditch it and I'm going to go back to the old ways of just building a network. Give us a more friendly place to play. All right, so we left it off at sample 151. So now we're going to go back to Logic, solo this one. This one we'll need to make some adjustments. Oh man, this happened. This happened the other day too when Streamlabs did its thing. Thank you, Saffron. I'm going to click on that right now. I will do that later. That's for me. That link is for me, Subvids. I just asked him to. I should have asked you to just whisper it for me, so it didn't create confusion. He's wanting some feedback. So. Wait, what? All right. All right. Which sounds specifically, or is it all of them? Because I'm happy to talk through all of what I'm hearing here. Okay. What's up, Zev? We're just doing a little bit of feedback for Saffron really quick. So if it's all the sounds, I would definitely recommend making this more of a dynamic riser. So as the meter fills up here, you're going to hear some kind of shift in timbre over time, right? It's probably going to increase in frequency and amplitude or something like that. Oh, the kick sound. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the kick sound is really flat. So for something like that, you're going to need a couple things. You're going to need to look at the action on the screen and think about exactly what's happening here, and then start connecting those dots. So there's you've got the impact, which you've got, right? But what you don't have is all of the call and response involved. So there's the leg movement. So if you add like a little kind of sound, it's going to add the believability for the leg kick. You're going to have to add some kind of a character grunt or reaction. So the kick impact is one thing, but you're also going to have to record something like punch a pillow or a comforter or a pile of shirts or something like that to get kind of like a fabric thud. You're going to need to get like a oof kind of a thing recorded. So maybe put a mic in front of your brother and punch him a bunch of times. No, I'm just kidding. But record a oof kind of a thing. And then you're also going to want to put this into a space. In the last session that we did together, we were talking about spaces. So this is a really good opportunity to create one of those urban environment layers that we were talking about the other day, right? Think about the general white noise that's heard in an urban setting with all of the everythings at play, right? All the traffic and the distant highways and just what that equates to. There's some bodies in the background back here. There might be some murmuring. This guy, it's not just the whoosh of his leg kicking, but there's the feet, all right, coming up off the ground. So there's probably a little scrape when he lifts his foot up. There's going to be a footfall when it comes back down. There might be like a little twisting motion. So the R2 button ones. What else am I hearing in this kick? Well, the actual kick sound itself is pretty flat. So let's just talk about that for just a second. Oh, you do have a step in there. I heard the step. So I would put in probably a total of 3 steps. I would put in one before you actually see his feet on the ground because he's in motion, right? So you know there's some kind of footwork happening there. Yeah, I would add those other elements and then get it back up for feedback before we start talking anything else. Because once you start putting it into a space and you start thinking about like, okay, there's probably like a little shirt ruffle here, and there's the leg kick sound and these other things, you start stacking those up, and sure enough, you'll get there. No wonder why the kick sound sounded so flat. Yeah, well, it's in isolation, right? It's okay if it's flat, if it sounds good in the bigger scene, all things considered. But on its own, you're going to hear just how, you know, flat or two-dimensional it really is. There's probably a small grunt on the kicker side as well, right? Because think about if you're really going to kick someone really hard, you're probably going to make a sound while you're doing it. So you might need more of like an effort grunt, right? The other guy's like a oof, and you know the effort grunt is more of like a kind of a thing, right? Play around with those, and then come back. Oh yeah, you bet, dude. Of course. Anytime. All right, so we're going to pick up on this. This is sample 151, so we're going to go 152 on this one. See if we can hear our sounds again now. Yes, we can. Oh, I can't believe it's Discord that's crashing our streams. It just makes me want to kick it to the curb and just build something myself again. Anybody having any kind of compatibility issues with Discord and Streamlabs combined? Ooh, that one was spicy. All right, this is probably a middle of the road setting that we can live with here. Well, that sucks. Cutting the stream as in like it's ending or what? Or it's like dropping. I don't see any dropped frames here or anything. I didn't see any kind of warning coming. As soon as I touched Discord on this end, the stream just ended. You hear reverb coming out of the grunt. Yeah, yeah. Zev, your question. I know I'm in and out, but what did you use to make the original sounds? For the UI, for these sounds that we're working on right now, it was a bell. It's the one that we grabbed at request of Purple Pros from freesound.org the other day, and it's this one, just a handbell, and ran it through Absinthe. And on that track that Absinthe is running, I had a note repeater, and the note repeater was set to repeat one time, and I went either up or down, transposed either up or down, and either accented the first or second note through velocity. And then that's it. That's it. All right. So I think we're at kind of a decent median volume here for these. So let's bounce these. I believe we're at sample 152. Whew, another spicy one. Those are gorgeous, though. Look at the perfect diamond. Oh, look at those. Just look at the goniometer on these just really quick and appease my inner geek, because look at the perfect diamond. Oh, what's going on here? Hold on. All right, let's go back to those diamonds so you can see. Watch this. They're just so nice. They look like little crystals or something. All right, so this is good enough. We're going to bounce all these, or export them rather. And we'll do it through this 152 is where we're going to start. 152. 16-bit audio tail. Now, of course, if you wanted to automate this even more, you could use a file converter that has the ability to tag metadata, embed metadata, and convert all of those waves to MP3s as well. If you're really wanting to sell stuff, you got to do it in WAV and MP3. We'll probably just come back and do this really quick here. In fact, I can show you how that looks. Now, let's just finish this really quick. I'm already on a mission. What am I thinking? We'll do that in a second. I don't want to push these quite as much. We started with a gain bump already. We'll see how I feel about all that noise here in a little bit. What number do we stop on this time? 227. So we're going 228 on this one. Coffee and food. Necessities, Nate. Saffron says using absinthe, used a glass, a cymbal, and attack noise. Nice. So you're following along at home. Very nice. Cool. So hopefully that answered your question, Zev, about the source sound. Just the stream freezing subvids. Well, I'm glad that it's okay now. I haven't seen any drop frames or anything, so hopefully it's pretty stable for everybody. Like how the perfect diamond sounds like a diamond, right? Very cool, huh? Yeah, absolutely. Nate agrees with everything I said. Oh, well, then it must be good advice because Nate makes really, really good sounds for video games. How would you get the sound high, like on the edge of our hearing frequency? Well, one way would be to pitch shift something up, right? If it's a form of synthesis that you're working in, or if you can stretch the sample mapping up high enough, you could just push stuff up into the upper registers with your keyboard. You can also kind of artificially inflate sounds. Think additive synthesis, right? Where you're just kind of adding frequencies. If it's not in a synth and you're wanting to kind of create that same kind of effect, what you could do is add harmonics through saturation and then exploit them. So how you would do that is you would take some form of saturation or distortion. It really depends on the type of sound, right? If you want it to be kind of dirty, you could use like a bit crusher or something like that. If you want it to be really clean, you could use a very, very simple overdrive. And make your target frequency higher than the actual original focal point of the sound, like where the main interest is. And then with your EQ, you can go in there and kind of create a resonant peak in the area that you're wanting to focus on, right? And if that doesn't do it, you could even bring that in, resample it. Right, you place it in a sampler and then go up in pitch from there. So sample map it up a few octaves and see what happens. It really depends on what the sound is, to be perfectly honest. I know it might sound like an escape from the question, but if we know what kind of sound it is, I might be able to answer with more specificity. Yeah, definitely go back and look at some of the videos of the sessions that we've done before Saffron in regards to the video game character movements and melee. We did a session on just melee, I believe, if I remember correctly. But the various melee sounds, yeah, I'm pretty sure we did because I think I remember speaking to you about the importance of body and body awareness and material awareness, not just the actual fisticuffs, right? Not just the actual kicking and hitting and slapping. It's grunts and it's movement of materials and stuff, right? So if the person is wearing chain armor, for instance, you got to get some chains in there, right? You got to get some metallic impact type stuff, right? If the person is wearing, just like a shirt or something, quite literally just record someone moving quietly, but just moving back and forth, just a couple of jerky actions or something while wearing a shirt, and see what kind of file you end up with when you bring that into your DAW. Take out the low frequencies, and that's all you need. That's all you need. The human brain is going to fill in all the missing stuff magically. It's amazing what our brains do for us. You don't have to work that hard at it. Get the motion in there, get the general sense of something happening in there. And all of that stuff is going to come to life a lot more. And once you place a very small sound like that, like a ruffle of a shirt or something, into the environment that the scene is all running through, then it feels like it belongs because it's in a shared space. It has shared processing. So with the shaker sample, clean, and then ping pong panning. Yeah, okay. So are you wanting to do the delay tails in those upper frequencies, or are you wanting to kind of push the shaker itself up into those upper frequencies? And is this in a sweep effect, or is this in like a static position frequency wise? I would want to know those things. Yeah, Saf, if you take all that feedback and you do something in each one of those areas mentioned, and put it all into an environment, it's going to feel so much better. Okay, did we already bounce that last one? Export that last one? Let's see. Oh yeah, we must have, because we have 300 samples in there now. So these are all processed, and this is just the minimal UI one. This isn't even the glitchy damaged one or whatever. So, oh, and I should have done this previously, but we'll just do this now. So this folder is going to be a minimal UI. And then we're just going to grab all of those. And we're going to toss them into that folder, because within this first run directory, we will have other folders. So the next one will be glitched damaged. We'll figure out what we're going to call it later. But basically, the idea is that we'll just go back now and do the same thing. So just really quick, because this is a decision, right? This is a decision that we're faced with. You got to include MP3s. You can't just sell waves. I mean, if you do, it's fine, but you go the extra step and give your customers the MP3, because if they're building video games or whatever, that's probably what they prefer. You bounce it at 320K, so it's a really high quality. You're not going to tell the difference, really. And it's a smaller file size. If you do it directly from your DAW, you can embed the metadata, which is super helpful, right? Especially if you're going to then, like if your clients are using some kind of, you know, an engine or a, oh, what am I trying to say? You know, like a Sound Forge or a Sound Miner or whatever, right? There's so many of them, your sample managers. Oftentimes the whole, like the biggest benefit of using those is that you can search for stuff easily, right? And metadata can kind of help get you there. At least add categories and basic, you know, author information. So if those things are important to you, then go back to your DAW, take the couple extra seconds it's going to take to run through the process of exporting as an MP3 as well. If it's not, then just do a massive batch conversion after the fact, outside of your DAW with a separate app. And you can find these, there's probably a couple free ones for both Mac and PC. There are also more kind of pro version apps that cost anywhere between like $5 and $10 that allow you to do quite a bit with batch embedding of metadata and stuff, as well as the file conversion. Healthy amount of samples. Do you take those first run samples and run all of them through the same processing channel for a folder like glitched or delay or whatever else you want to do to them? Yeah, actually, I was just about to bounce out the glitched and damaged ones. So since we set up all that already in our DAW, well, you were in and out, so you may not have seen this, but we actually already have that set up in the DAW. All we have to do is turn off the chorus and turn on the bit crusher and hysteresis that's going to be used. So we can do that now. So I'm just copying those over. It brings with them the parameter settings that I already have. And the best ones are probably going to be these louder tracks over here. This first one is pretty minimal. We'll probably get a few that we like. This top one's going to be better for the reverse effects, I think, more than anything. But that's the whole point of cranking out iterations and variations. Yeah, those will sound better on the other ones. I may not even do that track right there. Just getting back to the MP3 thing really quick so we can finish that conversation. If we go back to our export, again, same exact option. It's just that now, oh, right, we can't do it in, oh boy, that's right. We can't do it as a region export. We have to do it as a track export, I think, if we want to automate the MP3 thing. Anyway, it becomes a bit more difficult is what I'm getting at. So I will, generally speaking, use an external, like, third-party app to do the file conversion and metadata tagging of MP3s after I do all of the culling, right? If we're going to have 1,500 samples that we're going to crawl through, and we're only going to have like maybe a couple hundred sold at the end of the day, or less than 100, like maybe 80 across like 4 packs or something, then I'm just not, I don't want to create all those MP3 files and just throw them away. I'm already doing that with the waves. So I'll probably just run a batch conversion after that on all of them. It just seems to make the most sense for my workflows. A very short, almost inaudible frequency that has the panning to get the max dynamics subs to very highs, also playing with binaural. Okay, well, a couple things here. If you're playing with the binaural, you definitely want to stay out of the subs being moved around in that, or it's going to wreak havoc on a mix. But that said, if what you're wanting to do is get a wide delay effect and have those tails going up in frequency to achieve that kind of like orbital kind of headiness, what you could do is use a pitched delay, right, where you can transpose the delayed tails up. I can't remember who it was that was asking this. It may have even been you, Subvids. Someone was asking, have you ever used Absinthe as just an effects? And this is something that you could use Absinthe for pretty easily. You could also use FM8 pretty easily if you're just wanting to kind of borrow some effects processing from a robust synth. I would make the recommendation of either of those because it gives you the opportunity to pitch up the delay tails. In FM8, it's in the psychodelay effect on the FX on the effects tab, and in Absinthe, you would probably want to use the Aetherizer. And the Aetherizer is interesting because you're going to transpose the delayed tail. It's a granular delay, so you end up with some other things too, including the option of randomizing the frequency output of said tails. And it's great. It's great because it gives you more additional higher frequencies if you're transposing up that you wouldn't expect otherwise, or that you wouldn't be able to put in there manually. So Aetherizer. It's the Aetherizer inside of Absinthe. So just to show that to you, if we were to load Absinthe as a sound effect plugin instead of an instrument, let me just save this really quick. What you would do is just go over to the effects page, Aetherizer's on. You know what? I'm just going to add this in context for you really quick. Okay. So we'll grab a shaker. Any shaker will do. And then close that, and we'll loop this a couple times. All right, now let's put Absinthe on there. And again, you can do this with other things, but specifically the Aetherizer would be good for something like this. You can transpose in the tone tab over here. This is the delay tail over here, or the we've kind of frozen a little bit. There we go. So anyway, you're transposing these up in a delay. You can then set your timing and your feedback amount. And then you can start taking the dry out and layer that back into your project how you like. And then EQ out some of those lower frequencies. You could also, which DAW do you use? Subvids. Let's just take a look at the FM8 really quick as an option. FM8. So for this one, what you need to do is you go into your ops, you kill what's over there, you enable your audio in, and you route it to the output. And then you can go in and in your effects, grab the cyc delay. And here you can pitch up like this. And then you can take out your dry. You can increase the stereo width. You can affect the timing and the feedback, of course. You can reverse it. The other thing that's really nice about FM8 with this type of thing, let's bring in a little bit of the dry still so you can kind of get some perspective, is to go into the easy morph and then start affecting the timbre just through the simple easy morph controls. So like for instance, brightness. Harmonics. It just starts to affect the sound. Yeah, there you go, in FM8. There's so many different ways that you could achieve this, but the nice thing about FM8, and it's kind of a no-brainer, but you can automate that stuff very easily. You can map it to your controller very easily, and kind of play mad scientist. Studio One 4, right? Oh, of course, we were just talking about Studio One. Yeah, you know, and if you don't really want to go crazy with width and whatnot in here, and you just want to get it pitched up or whatever, then it's super easy to then take and affect it again outside of the synth itself. So the next thing in your chain could be something like a pitch shifter, and you toss that in, and maybe you go up an additional octave, and you can kind of play with the mix until you get there. You probably want to go into more of a manual pitch tracking kind of a thing. You're going to get weird artifacting after you get through the first process anyway. But the nice thing about living in the age of plugins is that you can go in there and turn any kind of weirdness into a legitimate, like well-timed thing again. Just toss something like a tremolo on there, set your phase to 0, and then make it more square instead of round. Maybe not entirely, but close. And then say, hey, what do I want these shakers to sound like? Maybe 16th notes? Because we can do that. Right? Now, if you wanted the ping pong effect, you can keep the same exact kind of thing and shift that back. You can even go super wide back to 180. Oh, I keep forgetting to undo that. I currently have the number 1 key on my numeric keypad set to the happy birthday trigger. I got to take that off. So anyway, if you switch your phase back to 180, then it takes it away from like the traditional volume automation kind of thing or modulation, and it moves it over to more of like an auto pan thing. So you were wanting a ping pong, so you could do this. Right, so now you've got the ultra high frequencies. You can then go back towards the beginning of your effects chain and figure out, okay, how much dry signal do I want back in this guy? So it's just a matter of retracing your footsteps and making it happen. Getting your wet-dry balance set up at the very beginning of the chain and then seeing how that affects it as it trickles down. FX Guru, thank you. No dry relief. Yeah, I'd want the same thing, right? You'd want just like a really wet, random thing. And then, honestly, if I was doing something like this, I'd probably finish it with like just a little bit of bit crusher, because it's easy. It's easy to push the limits with something like bit crush and still bring a lot of kind of gloss to the sound, a little bit of polish. So that would look a little bit like this. And then just taking it down. And it adds a sharper edge through the harmonic information being added. Easier for our ears to tune into in a lot of ways. And then just back it off until you get the level that you want. And oftentimes you really don't need to add a bunch of drive. Cool. Well, there you go. That's how you would achieve it then. And you should be able to do pretty much the same thing very, very easily in Studio One with all the stock plugins. But yeah, be wary of playing with the binaural stuff when sub information is present. That's just my take on that. We have already crept up on 1 o'clock. I'm not sure if I'm actually ready to quit yet. I see people dropping off. They're probably anticipating me stopping. I think what I'm going to do is go stretch my legs, grab a little bit of coffee, and see how I feel when I come back. So, oh, good, subvids. I'm glad that that worked. Should clip that for yourself. All right, I'm going to go grab a bit of coffee. You guys stick around if you want to. And I'll be back in just a little bit. Just a few. got coffee, stretched legs, and I decided I am gonna end the stream on time today. I think we are wrapping up. Introspect, welcome! Right in the 11th hour. Here's what I'm gonna do. Like I said, I'm gonna wrap up this one. On Friday, when we come back, what I'd like to do, besides a product review of something awesome, is to just kind of have a Ninja Maneuvers Friday. I'd like to start ending our weeks with something like this, where you guys just throw a bunch of questions or challenges at me, and I answer with actions, like what we were just doing with Subvid's request of like, hey, how do I do this weird, crazy thing that I'm trying to accomplish? There's a lot of ways to achieve awesomeness. And yeah, so we'll probably be doing some of that on Friday. So definitely circle back around on Friday and be here and bring some questions. We're going to be doing some kind of real community sample challenge next week. We will have our product reviews rolling. I can't wait to do the first couple with you guys because they're exciting. And like I said, we'll keep it all relevant. So we'll take the plugins that we're reviewing and we will put them to task on the sounds that we are currently making as well. It'll help us stay within some themes. But anyway, on that note, I am out. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around today. We'll figure out the Discord thing. If there still continues to be a compatibility issue between Discord and Streamlabs, we will ditch Discord and we will build ourselves a destination on our own. Purple Pros, thank you. I will see all of you on Friday. I'll leave you with a little bit of music for a minute. Until then, peace out. You guys have a good one.